Hi there. The Newcastle Office Space and Flexible Workspace Providers Directory has been published. We are pleased to announce. We created the directory following a record year for the Newcastle office market, specifically the first half of the year. At 481,000 square feet, the H1 take-up figure for Newcastle in terms of office lettings was 37% higher than the market's 10-year average, and it represented the best H1 since 2019. 2025 was a year that many of the big nine UK regional cities outperformed their H1 10-year averages, but Newcastle beat their average by the most of all the nine cities. The take-up figures in Newcastle were boosted by the significant pre-completion acquisition by HMRC at the Pilgrim Quarter, as well as by others, though not as large as the HMRC acquisition. The Newcastle office market's Q2 take-up was relatively subdued compared to Q1. However, activity increased by 33% in Q3 to 190,200 square feet, bringing it in line with the 10-year average. By the end of 2025, the vacancy rate across all office stock fell slightly to 8.9% as take-up outweighed the release of second-hand space. However, the activity at the top of the market by those seeking the best office space left the Grade A vacancy rate at just 0.7%, a rate among the lowest in the big nine cities. Grade A headline rents at the end of 2025 remained at £32 per square foot per annum. However, the limited supply of freely available best-in-class office space is predicted to create upward pressure on headline rents. The higher rents may make new development schemes more financially viable in an environment of adverse conditions for developers and bring more stock to the market. However, this new space would not be available for some time. We therefore felt it would be beneficial to compile the directory, highlighting that there are 16 office providers and flexible workspace operators in Newcastle offering plug and play business space that is immediately available in 22 buildings across the Tyneside city, many of which are Grade A. These ready-to-go agile alternatives to leased office space include serviced private offices, self-contained managed office suite floors and buildings, fully fitted offices, and co-working spaces available in locations across Newcastle, including Market Street, Pilgrim Street, the Quayside, Quorum Business Park, and St James Gate. All of the immediately available flexible office space and workspace solutions in Newcastle are featured in the directory. We hope that you find it useful. And until next time, take care.